Tonight, we are not merely imagining a fantasy. We are observing the quiet, enduring truth of the past. We are traveling back 5,000 years to the heart of North Africa. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. As you breathe, imagine the map of the ancient world unfurling before you. To the west, the endless Sahara Desert. To the east, the rugged mountains of the Red Sea. And in the center, cutting through the sand like a vein of life, the Nile. The Greek historian Herodotus called Egypt the gift of the Nile. Without this river, there is only wind and sand. But with it, there is history. Civilizations rise and fall, but the river flows on. Constant, reliable, eternal. Black silt. Rich, fertile mud brought all the way from Central Africa. The Egyptians called their country Kemet, the Black Land. They named it after this mud. It was the contrast to Deshret, the red land of the desert. Life and death, black and red. The balance was perfect. Long before the pyramids rose, history here began with politics. Along the river, there were two distinct kingdoms. In the south, near the source, lay Upper Egypt, the land of the White Crown. In the north, where the delta fans out to the sea, lay Lower Egypt, the land of the Red Crown. Around 3100 BC, a king named Narmer united them. Archaeologists found this moment carved onto a stone slate known as the Narmer Palette. It is the world's first historical document. The king is shown wearing both crowns. The war was over. Order was established. He founded his capital where the two lands met, the city of Memphis. The city of white walls. Imagine those massive limestone walls shimmering in the sun. A fortress of civilization amidst the wild desert. Egypt was now one body. Centuries later, we travel to the Giza Plateau. This is the Old Kingdom, the golden age of construction. The Great Pyramid stands as the largest engineering project in human history. Historical records show us this was not built by slaves. It was a national project. Masons, engineers, and farmers came here during the flood season to work. Visualize the construction site. There is no sound of whips, only the rhythm of labor. Teams of men, known as phylus, drag 2-ton blocks on wooden sleds. They slide over wet mud to reduce friction. Listen to the sound of copper chisels tapping against limestone. Clink, clink, clink. It is the sound of patience. Layer by layer, a mountain of will rises. The workers were fed well. Bakeries nearby churned out thousands of loaves of bread daily. They believed they were building a ladder to the stars for their king. In the shadow of the pyramids, a massive sentinel watches the east. The Great Sphinx. Carved from a single mass of limestone bedrock, the body of a lion, the head of a king. Its face is believed to be that of Pharaoh Khafre. Its eyes look toward the rising sun, Ra. Staring at the same point on the horizon for 4,500 years. Imagine how the desert wind sweeps sand between its paws. Over time, the sand rose up to its neck. For centuries, only the head remained visible above the dunes. A silent witness. It watched empires rise and fall. Its silence is one with the silence of the desert. Strong, patient, enduring. Let us drift away from the monuments into the quiet streets of a village. History is not just stone, it is the rhythm of daily life. Imagine a simple house made of mud brick. The walls are thick to keep out the heat. Inside, it is dark, cool, and still. The floor is packed earth, swept clean. The air smells of fresh bread. Emmer wheat is being ground by hand on a stone saddle quern. Grind, bread, and beer were the staples of existence. The beer was different from today, thick like a nutritious gruel. In the evenings, families would sit on the flat roofs of their homes to catch the breeze. They played senet, a board game of strategy and chance. The movement of pieces across the grid symbolized the soul's journey. Even a game was a sacred act. Every moment in Egypt held a deeper meaning. Life in Egypt was preserved not just by prayer, but by science. Near the temples, there were rooms for the sweno, the doctors. The Edwin Smith papyrus reveals how advanced they were. They knew how to set broken bones and stitch wounds. Imagine the smells in the healer's chamber. Honey, the most important medicine in Egypt. They used it on wounds because it never spoils and kills bacteria. The scent of acacia leaves, garlic, and mint. The doctors listened to the pulse. They understood that the heart spoke to the vessels of the body. This was a rational approach. Illness was chaos. Healing was the return of the body to ma'at, to order. Just as your body is now returning to its own natural order through rest. Civilization is memory, and memory is kept by writing. We travel to a quiet courtyard in Thebes where the scribes are working. They sit cross-legged, their linen kilts pulled tight. On their laps rests a roll of papyrus. You can smell the dry, reedy scent of the paper. The scribe dips a reed pen into black ink. The ink is made from soot and gum. He writes in hieratic script, recording the harvest, counting cattle, calculating taxes. These quiet men were the backbone of the empire. They trained in the Per Ankh, the house of life, the silence of knowledge, the smell of dust and old scrolls. It is a place where the mind can rest completely. We enter the new kingdom now, at the Temple of Karnak. This was the largest religious complex in the ancient world. But it was not a place for the public. It was the house of the god. Imagine the hypostyle hall, a forest of stone columns so wide that 100 men could stand on top of them. Inside, there is deep shade and cool air. We observe the priests. This was not about magic, but about absolute purity and order. Priests washed in the sacred lake twice a day and shaved their entire bodies. They wore spotless white linen. The air is filled with the smoke of kifi incense, a heavy blend of myrrh, cinnamon, honey, and raisins. This scent calmed the nerves and purified the mind. The temple was a clock. The rituals kept time. Everything was in its place. The Egyptians viewed death not as an end, but as a journey. To make this journey, the vessel, the body, had to be preserved. Mummification was as much a chemical process as a religious one. Imagine the workshops on the west bank of the Nile. The air smells dry and salty. The body was covered in natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture, for 70 days. This salt absorbed moisture, stopping the process of decay. Then, the skin was rubbed with cedar oil and expensive resins. The scent of these oils can still be smelled in tombs thousands of years later. Finally, layers of linen bandages were wrapped tight. Each layer was a seal. The goal was to freeze the form forever. And they succeeded. History preserved them. The pharaohs stopped building pyramids. They realized the giant monuments attracted thieves. So they chose a hidden place. Deep in the desert hills, a sun-scorched, silent valley. The Valley of the Kings. It is a place of absolute silence. They dug tunnels hundreds of feet into the limestone bedrock. Think of the artisans from the village of Deir el-Medina. They worked deep underground in pitch blackness. They used oil lamps with floating wicks. They mixed salt into the oil to stop the lamps from smoking so the paintings wouldn't be damaged. They painted the walls with maps of the night sky. Gold stars on deep blue ceilings. When the tomb was sealed, it was plunged into darkness and silence. A safe sleep in the heart of the mountain. Time passed. The temples were abandoned. But the sand covered everything. The dry, hot sand of the desert is the ultimate preserver. It buried the Sphinx up to its neck. It sealed the doors of the tombs. Egypt fell into a sleep that lasted thousands of years. Now, the sun has set. The air has cooled. The Nile River flows silently to the Mediterranean, just as it did 5,000 years ago. The stars shine down on the empty ruins. The history is safe. The scribes have finished their work. The masons have put down their chisels. The valley is quiet. You are part of this long, quiet stream of time, drifting on the current of history. Safe, secure, at rest. Sleep now in the shadow of the ages. Sleep.